This is a little story about a small DIY job which turned into a bigger job, which then turned into a YouTube video. Inside this door, there was this fungus, which is actually dry rot, and as you can see, it's eaten away all the timbers, and it's practically turned to dust. I was hoping to be able to just cut out the affected rot, but after doing some research, I found out that it's basically going to spread throughout the whole door, and I'm better off just replacing it with a brand new one. This door is actually only about 5 or 6 years old, but it's rotted so quickly because of the way it was built. It was built using cheap plywood, sandwiched together, which meant that the rot could fester inside and grow over time. And just in the ideal conditions, it's absolutely fallen apart. The local hardware store was selling these timbers, so I basically designed the door around the timbers that were available. They're quite expensive, but I thought it was worth it to make it out of solid wood rather than cheap shuttering ply. Um, I'm gonna make the frame out of simple half lap joints. They're not very strong, but they are very easy to make. The really important thing here is just to set your saw at exactly half the width of the wood, and you want to make sure that the saw stays set there for all your joints. That way they come out all nice and consistent, and the whole thing fits together really well. One nice thing about lap joints is just they're so easy. As you can see, basically a circular saw, hammer, and chisel gets you a pretty good result with a tight fitting joint. I've put two planks together here to save time. Cutting them both at once makes it easier. Here I'm just putting the frames together, checking that they all line out nicely. Uh, getting getting everything square is quite challenging really on a door this size, but once it's glued together, there's no going back, so it's worth spending the time measuring and getting it all square. This is just normal wood glue, and as long as it's clamped down tightly, it provides a really strong joint. I think clamps are one of the most useful tools in the workshop. You can't really have enough of them. Pick them up everywhere you can. Here I'm just laying the frames on the ground just to get an idea of how much wood I need to actually cover them. It turns out that I was quite lucky because I could use a length and a half basically to cover two slats. So I ended up saving a whole load of wood, which is great because now I have that in storage. I've painted the frames this undercoat just to give it a little bit more protection if any wood gets between the frame and the planks. Here I'm just gluing the boards that I had to cut in half together. The angle doesn't really do anything here apart from give the joint area more surface to actually attach, and so there should be a better glue joint. Here I'm just cleaning up the old door hardware using a blowtorch and then an angle grinder with a wire wheel on it. Made really light work of the old paint. They are galvanized steel anyway, so they shouldn't rust. I realize it's not very exciting to watch people paint things, but you know, here's some more painting. Right, so it's about midnight and it's time for me and Dad to start putting the door up. We are, it takes definitely two people to lift these doors. They're pretty heavy. And we're just putting little wedges underneath so that we can actually force it up into the frame. As I am attaching the hinges to the door, I'm pulling down quite hard on the hinges so that I'm taking up any slack there would be when the wedges are taken out from underneath. Um, yeah, as I say, this door is really quite heavy, so definitely need all 8 hinges here to keep it up. So obviously the cat and dog have to come say hello at this point. My biggest regret with this door is the color that I decided to paint it. I don't I don't know what you think, but I don't like it. It it would have been much better to go for a more natural green, like the color that I'm painting the inside right now. This is just an undercoat. It's not glossy, but it's plenty of protection for the inside. And that's basically it, apart from just putting on the final pieces of door furniture. That's how I'm going to leave it. So I thought this was quite an interesting project. Just I was shocked by how quickly this fungus completely just destroyed this wood and turned it from being solid into just a powdery substance. Um, Virtually in the course of a couple of months. I mean, I noticed it getting weak on the outside, maybe around Christmas time, and then by the summer when I came to replace it, just fallen to pieces. You can imagine how dangerous this stuff is if it gets into your house, if it's in your walls. It can be just a major job. So this was quite a, you know, eye-opening experience for me. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Sorry if you found that boring. I hope I can make it up to you by showing you some of my runner ducks, which were another quarantine project and I love more than life itself. They are so funny. Anyway, have a nice day and see you later. Bye.